Next up on the Livestream Lounge, we have Cramer, a man who does not really need any introduction, but Karl Strauss, the man.
How's it going? Good to see you again.
Yeah. How you been?
I've been great. It's been an exciting year at Karl Strauss.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at your numbers earlier today. What is it? Up 12.3% in the off-premise in SoCal.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, you guys are killing it.
Well, we've been very blessed. People are loving the Aurora Hoppy Alice IPA and our other beers, and the team is doing an amazing job of continuing to grow the facility and make the best beers in the world, in the best place in the world, San Diego.
California. Right?
California, that's right.
Well, one of my favorite sayings that you have, and I'm going to butcher it, is in this industry, the beer doesn't care if you paid, what is it, resale, wholesale, or
retail, wholesale, or bankruptcy prices for good equipment.
So have you been?
But the ROI does.
So have you been to any auctions lately?
You know, we've been looking at a lot of good deals, and we did actually just pick up a secondhand great canning line, 2 lanes for our distributing brewery in Pacific Beach, and got a great deal on that. And there's a lot of good equipment that's out there and more that's coming on the market.
I guess not a surprise to you, because you've been doing this for a while. Yeah. I mean, you've been able to sort of build the brewery in this way, this sort of like, maybe not piecemeal, but you've gotten some great deals as you go along.
Sure, as long as you're getting good equipment. That's the key thing, is it has to match your needs. But right now, with more than 7,000 breweries here in the U.S. and a record number of them closing their doors, or if they're growing, then they're disposing of old equipment, there's greater opportunities to find the right piece to the puzzle to fit in. And but if there's a specific need, we have no problem just going and buying from new equipment from great manufacturers. The key thing is it's got to be right for the quality of the beer, because if it doesn't make your beer the best beer in the world, then you're not going to be in business for very long. And we're going on 30 years in February that we've been in business, and we plan to be around for at least another 70.
Do you think a lot of the brewer entrepreneurs out there know about this, or are aware that this is a good way of sort of building a business? Because you've been on with us before. You've talked about building a 100-year business. I mean, and I believe we've talked about this before. So do you think that there's an awareness level on this?
I think there is a certain level of awareness, mainly because there's more availability than there ever has been with so many breweries here in the country. You got to remember, when we started in 1989, we were around the 300th brewery to open up in the U.S., and we were the first new brewery in the city of San Diego in more than 50 years. And so, the opportunity to buy used equipment then just wasn't there. In the first great downturn in the 90s, there was, suddenly breweries closing and an opportunity for us to go and buy, additional assets. In fact, David Walker, who spoke this morning, dear friend, I met him at the Aviator bankruptcy auction years ago. We were picking over the bones of that brewery, and we've been great friends ever since. But no, I think that people do know, but on super small scale stuff, I don't know that isn't as available, at secondary levels. We don't look at that as much.
Looking at that, and we've heard a lot of talk about, where the market is today, and 7,000 breweries, and maybe 10. I think David Walker said today we could see more than 10,000 breweries. Do you still think that there's a lot of opportunity for new breweries to come online?
Absolutely. We heard the Reinheit's, story, this morning, which I just think is a fabulous story, in 5 years to grow to 100,000 barrels and to build such a wonderful company. But you hear the story, and they're doing it so right. Brian has built such a great team, an operation, the values, the culture, and it's really hard work. And it takes, an amazing amount of brain power and effort to be able to sustain that and make it happen. I think for a lot of people who are getting in the industry now, they may never grow beyond, 5,000 barrels, and that's their long-term plan.
And I think that's a realization that a lot of people may not have and are coming to now. Is like, I can only grow this much, And I think, I don't know if you were in there for the Rising Stars presentation, but Jake Rouse had talked about how they're looking at local going from a metropolitan area to a city,
Well, I thought that was so interesting when he was talking about how, now just even selling back across the river into Cincinnati is a lot harder than it was 3 years ago. How local is local? He's no longer on that side. It doesn't project local as much on that side of the river.
Well, and for someone like Karl Strauss, you guys have diversified to the point where I wouldn't say that you're bulletproof, but you're definitely like
from your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah. You're able to sort of sustain. Is that sort of part of the strategy that you have?
Absolutely. Well, we project local by building local breweries. We have 10 local satellite breweries in Southern California, which are also brew pubs, and they give us an opportunity to go into communities, build those bonds of friendship with our guests and our raving fans, and introduce them to what Karl Strauss is on a very intimate level. And then we're able, with our distributing brewery operations, to then fulfill the demand that we've created for distributed beer, and it works well. So we're continuing with our plan. We're looking at new operations that we're building. We've got a 2-acre site that we're developing in San Marcos for our new research and development brewery, and it's going to be a new style food service operation. We're hopeful that we're going to get it open by late 2019. Development in California is always a question. We have another 10-acre parcel in Santee that we're developing as well, but these larger parcels take even longer in California. I joke that if I was in Texas, we would have been open 2 years ago. But
I wouldn't be so sure about that with the TABC and everything going on there. So.
I don't know. I think it's easier. California makes it pretty difficult to develop raw land.
But you like selling beer to go, I imagine. Do you have
Love
that
it.
ability?
Absolutely, and that's why we have it across our entire operation, except for our one store at Universal City Walk Hollywood, where that brewery does the zoning doesn't permit beer to go. But other than that, we have new crowlers in all of our brew pubs and our tasting room at the main distributing brewery. So in addition to growlers, which we've always had, we now have an additional packaging method for our draft beer that people who are flying back across the country can still take it and not worry if the growler is going to break in their suitcase. So it's a terrific growth area for us as well.
Where else are you sort of looking for growth as we head into 2019? I mean, we've heard a lot of talk about cannabis and health and wellness space. Are those areas that Karl would look to play in?
Well, right now we're focused on our core business, which is craft beer and making the best beer on the planet. And we have so many things coming up. 2019 is our 30th anniversary. February 2nd is the 30th birthday of craft brewing in San Diego. And so we're going to have a huge celebration at our brewery, our changing of the barrels. We're going to release our barrel-aged Imperial Stout that's been aged in rum and bourbon barrels and for a year now, and that's going to be part of our anniversary. We've got all sorts of new brews that are coming up. Drake's Brewing is 30 years old as well in 2019, so we're going to do a collaboration brew with them. We have new collaboration brews that are coming out to support the victims of the Camp Fire and the Woolsey Fire. So we're doing those. Those are both going to be released in December 21st of this year. And of course, our Christmas beer is just out in the market right now with our 9 bonfires of blazing. And across our 11 breweries, we make more than 150 different beers a year. So we've always got new things going on. I don't know whether cannabis is a part of the future for us, but we're going to continuously innovate as we have for the last 30 years, which is just a requisite if you're going to be relevant.
Yeah.
You gotta change, and you gotta grow, and you gotta meet your customers where they are, and you gotta become an important part of their lives, because God knows they have so many choices.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the time.
Always
Chris.
great seeing you.
Always a pleasure, man.
So take care.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Come visit us in San Diego.
I'll have to.
All right.
All right. Thanks,
Take care.
Chris.
Cheers.
Cheers.